Hi everyone, thank you and welcome to my channel. This is your girl Empress Charm, and today we're going to discuss depression and my personal experience with postpartum depression. Now, I had my baby in November, and after I had my baby and my 6 week checkup, they had the nurse and the doctor, they asked me some series of questions, and based on my response they said that even though I was just borderline, via my response, my responses, they decided that yes, I do need some counseling. So I had talk therapy, which helped me tremendously. And it just like dawned on me, like this is something that is serious. Like I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to do anything. Like when I came from the hospital, I'm usually someone who is like up and running, and like even in the hospital after I had my baby, I had a C-section and I was up like the next day. And for those who've had a C-section, they know that the pain, and after the surgery, which is a huge surgery by the way, after you have the surgery, the next day you're encouraged to sit in bed and do not move without assistance. I was able to get up, and the nurses were all like, you didn't call us, because they know that you need assistance afterwards. But anyhow, I was up in the hospital, but when I came home, like I didn't want to do anything, and I was down, and I was more concerned because my older son, is 2.5. I was concerned about him because I was just used to having one baby, and then now I have another baby, which is like close to each other, and like I feel like I didn't like feel like I was adequately supporting my eldest. Like I felt like I was neglecting him, even though my husband, being the supportive spouse that he is, he told me that I wasn't. But I just felt like I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't enough, and it was when they assigned me the counselor, who I speak with every Wednesday. Even to date, I still speak with her every Wednesday, and it has been helping. But it was where it had me thinking, like, listen, in my home country, like a lot of people don't have these resources. In other countries, the old depression is even shunned. Like people will be like, oh, you're not the first to have a child, everyone have kids, and women have kids every day, deal with it. That's something that society do not really, they don't embrace depression, and my niece, I lost people close to me from this very disease, but until it hits home, that's when you really realize that, listen, this is something really serious. Like I wasn't suicidal, I wasn't thinking of harming myself or my child or my children, thankfully, but it was a case where I just felt sad, and like nothing is going right. I had some other things that I was dealing with in my career. I was thinking of a career change, and I felt like nothing was going right, and then I wasn't giving my best to my kids in my head. That's what I was thinking. So the counselor, the talk therapy has been helping, but I'm like, there's not many avenues where people can actually sit and talk about how they're feeling, So one of the thing that had me, because I've been wanting to start a YouTube channel forever, but I've been encouraged by friends. I've been, told, you should do something like this because you're always talking to people. One of those people who's always helping everybody but can't help themselves. That's me. I have friends who will confide in me and they'll talk to me about how they're feeling, but for me, other than my husband that I do, bless his heart, I do talk off his ear in the nights, but some of us don't have that luxury, and we sit. And now with the pandemic, I thought to myself, like, I experienced all of this, I'm getting help, but what about those who don't have help? What about those who felt like there is no help, there is no hope? Here in America, you have the suicidal hotline, you have resources in other countries where you have resources where you can go and talk to someone. And the thing is about getting that person to actually get into counseling or get some help. But the thing about depression is, like I said, it's a persistent mood of sadness where you're constantly feeling down and inadequate. You don't feel belonged. You don't feel like anyone really values you. You don't feel like you're doing enough. And when you feel like you're not doing enough for your children, or you're not being enough for your spouse, it's a feeling that is not so easily talked out of. It's not a feeling that can just easily go away. So one of the things that really had me decided right now, after all these years, when I thought about doing my channel, why, it was a thought because I had something in mind that I really wanted to focus on my channel, but I is almost compelled to speak about this because I'm sure many of my friends and even family would be surprised that I was actually diagnosed with postpartum depression, because you don't see it. And that's the thing, you cannot look at someone and know what they're going through. So we have to do what we have to do. We have to check on our strong friends, check on our strong friends, and those friends that are really introverted, that are really quiet, and you don't get to you don't get to speak to them too often. And oftentimes when after you have kids and people grow and they get into the different stages of life, they don't get to connect with those people or communicate with those people that they used to, but or as much as they used to. But it's very important that we just be our brother's keeper and keep a connection with those people around us. So one of the things that you can use to know if you're experiencing a period of depression, and usually this is have to be medically diagnosed, but if you're in, one of the things that you can use primarily to know if you're depressed or someone is actually experiencing a case of depression, or they're actually depressed, is to actually, if you notice that they have lack of interest in doing everyday activities that they used to, they have zero interest in doing anything, they don't want to get out of bed, whenever time you do call them, they don't want to talk, they're constantly sad, they've been extremely quiet and reserved. So that's one of the things, that's what the primary thing. But I was like shocked when I was told that I had postpartum depression. I have a cousin that I talk to like every day, every single day, and she also, she's not clinically depressed or wasn't diagnosed with depression, but we share our experiences. We're able to talk to each other without anyone being judging the other, saying that, because people trivialize these things, and because of the same reason why people trivialize, make it seem like it's not important, that people are exaggerating, they do all of that. That's one of the said reason why people do not express how they're feeling. And this hit home for me, especially last year when I had a former colleague that he also went to my high school, and he was one of the most jovial when where I was working. It was at my first job or second job after high school, and he was the most jovial, and we never kept communication, because we moved on different, stages of life, and he was still working, I presume, where we used to work, but I saw on Facebook, a schoolmate of mine posted, RIP, and I saw the picture, but I'm like, this is someone that I know, and this person is the most jovial person I don't even know anyone more jovial than he is. He's super jovial, and he's funny, and he's always trying to lift your spirits, and he was just one of the most friendliest of person I know. And what do I know? when she posted, I quickly sent her a message and asked what happened, because I saw the photo, I could have presumed what happened, but when I asked her, she said that he committed suicide and everything. He was battling depression, and I didn't know. And this also hits home for me personally when my niece, she lost her dad, which was my brother, my elder brother. He died, but he died of heart-related illness. But his only daughter, she committed suicide, and that her brother told me that was one of the days she committed suicide was one of the best days they've had in a while. They ate dinner, they all watched a movie, then she went back upstairs and she went to her room, and then that's when they woke up and they checked. They didn't hear her getting up. She was on her roll, got her associate degree, ready to go on to college and get her degree and everything, and a good job. And that's when she took her life. So this is something that is serious and we cannot take for granted. Do not, people be like, but this person have everything. You understand? I'm in America, and us Jamaicans, we like our patties and we like our our home food. And one of the our fellow Jamaican here, he owned a bakery, because he also committed suicide, and he had everything. People be like, he had everything going on. He has a good company that's prosperous and everything, and he took his life. So while I wasn't suicidal, I am cognizant of the fact that you have many people going through. I see on my timeline daily, people are begging for help, because you see them post every day. They're melancholy. They post, their posts can tell you that they're crying out, but do they have someone to be like? Do they listen? Do they have someone that can actually listen, or do they have a listening ear? Do they have the resources to get the help that they need? Because this is a disease, and that's one of the things people oftentimes think. This is not a disease. People just need to get it together, get their life together, get over it. This is life. Life is tough. Get used to it. But the reality is that when you have a disease, you need a cure or some treatment in order to get the relief that you need and to carry on your daily life. So it's been a burden on my heart, and I'm glad I'm recovering. I'm not as, I do get up now, I cook our meals, and my husband, thank God for a supportive spouse. I do not know what I would have done without a supportive spouse, and my hat's off to those single moms who have their 3, 4, 5, 6 kids, and they're getting their lives together. Check on those people, check on your strong friends. This pandemic, have a lot of people at home, and they have their kids that are usually in schools, and they are at work, and they come home in the evening, but now they don't have that luxury. They're now at home with their kids. They have to be maneuvering, trying to deal with the kids and deal with their household duties as well. So these people we need to help out each other, see how we can best help support each other, and try our best to actually, be more mindful of what others are going through. And not everyone that you see smile in your face, because I'm sure by my post you wouldn't have known that I was diagnosed with postpartum depression, that I had postpartum depression. And it's been an experience for me, and it really had me thinking, like, what if all those women who've passed on before, that they develop hypertension, their high blood pressure and diabetes. And I'll speak about gestational diabetes in another video, because I too had that with my second child. So, and that's another story. But for this video, I want you to comment below what your thoughts, and if you've experienced it, share your experience for my video. It will be an interactive, my channel will be an interactive channel where we can share our experiences or testimonies, how we've overcome things, how we're dealing with things, especially now in the pandemic, because in my opinion, I don't think COVID is going anywhere. It will be with us for some time. How are we dealing with, how are we coping with being at home every day, especially if you're not introvert, if you're not one that like to be in a one space all the time. How do you deal with that? How are you dealing with that? what I can do is tell you, so give you suggestion on how to deal with depression. And from my experience, as I said, I've been receiving talk therapy, and my counselor, she's really good. And she was assigned to me, and she comes on. We do a FaceTime every Wednesday morning, 11 o'clock. And she oftentimes, the first thing she asks me, how's my mood been for the past week? And she, on a rating, she'll tell me, what I can do, think positive thoughts. And that's one of the things that she tells me: try and think positive thoughts, know that you're worth it, you're worthy, and you belong, you're a loving mom, you're doing your best. And that's all we can do our best. You're doing your best. And there'll be challenging times, there'll be terrible days, and there'll be good days. Nothing stays the same forever. So she's been really good and helpful, and I'm thankful for that. But for those of us that don't have, those who don't have this resource, I'm here. You can talk, you can comment, you can send an email, and this is one of the ways that we will be able to discuss things that we're going through, that ways of which we can help each other out. I do appreciate you for tuning in. And one of the things, lastly, before I go for this video, is I want you all to focus and promise me what you're going to do for me is in my next video, I want you to tell me one of your strong friends that you checked on, one of your long lost relative that you haven't spoken to in a while, that used to be, communicative, but she's not, or he's not been reaching out to you or you haven't been reaching out to that friend who has been really good to you, but you lost touch, and you don't know what happened and how they're doing. Let's check on our friends, because people hide stuff. And if you've read, like me, I'm going to leave a link in the bio where you can go and read upon depression, ways of dealing with depression, and ways you can seek help. But I want you to do for me is to check on one of your strong friends, check on one of your friends that you haven't spoken to a while. I give you that challenge, and let me know. Put it in the comment box below. Please like, share, and subscribe to my channel so we can have more talk. This is your girl, Prince Charm. Thank you for watching, and see you again next time.